The verdict. The Grand Assembly Hall floated in the void between galaxies, a masterpiece of engineering built by 100 civilizations over 1,000 years. Its transparent dome stretched 3 miles across, revealing the cosmic tapestry of swirling nebulas and distant stars. Today, representatives from 473 worlds had gathered for a vote that would reshape galactic history. Admiral Sarah Chin stood alone at the center of the circular chamber. She was 52 years old, with gray streaks in her black hair and eyes that had witnessed both the beauty and brutality of space exploration. Her uniform was simple compared to the elaborate garments worn by the alien delegates surrounding her. Dark blue fabric with silver earth insignia on the shoulders. Nothing more. She needed nothing more. Around her, the delegates sat in their designated sections, separated by species and political alliance. The Krillian Dominion occupied the eastern quarter, their crystalline bodies refracting light into rainbow patterns across the chamber walls. The Xian Confederation filled the northern section, massive beings of living metal who communicated through electromagnetic pulses. The Orvathai collective claimed the western area, their tentacle forms floating in specialized gravity fields. Dozens of other species completed the circle, each one regarding humanity with varying degrees of suspicion, fear, or contempt. At the highest point of the chamber sat Chancellor Vexer of the Galactic Coalition. He was Krillian, his body a formation of purple and gold crystal that pulsed with inner light. When he spoke, his voice resonated through translation devices implanted in every delegate's communication system. This assembly convenes to address the matter of Earth and its human population, Vexer announced. His tone carried the weight of authority earned through 3 centuries of political service. For the past 50 years, humanity has been a provisional member of our galactic community. Today, we determine whether that membership continues or ends. Sarah remained perfectly still. She had known this day was coming for months. The signs had been impossible to miss. Closed-door meetings she was not invited to. Trade agreements suddenly renegotiated. Scientific collaborations mysteriously canceled. Humanity's expulsion had been decided long before this vote. This assembly was merely theater, a performance to give legitimacy to a predetermined outcome. The Krillian Dominion will present the first grievance, Vexer continued. A Krillian delegate rose from her seat. Lady Shexra was younger than Vexer, her crystal form a brilliant shade of emerald. Humanity has repeatedly violated the non-interference directive, she stated. On 17 separate occasions, human vessels have entered restricted zones without authorization. They have made contact with pre-spaceflight civilizations, contaminating natural cultural development. They have harvested resources from protected systems. Their disregard for established law is well documented. Sarah did not respond. The accusations were technically accurate, but lacked context. Those restricted zones had contained human ships in distress. Those pre-spaceflight civilizations had already been contacted by other species illegally. Those protected systems had been harvested by corporate entities from other worlds, and humans had merely followed existing practices. But explaining would be pointless. The Assembly did not want explanations. They wanted justification for a decision already made. The Xian representative spoke next, his electromagnetic voice translated into audible speech. Humanity's military expansion is unprecedented and threatening. In 5 decades, they have constructed the largest fleet in known space. Their weapons technology advances at an alarming rate. They have fortified their home system with defensive platforms that could destroy entire armadas. Such militarization suggests aggressive intent. Sarah allowed herself a slight smile. Humanity had indeed built a formidable military, but only after learning a hard lesson. 12 years ago, pirates from the Vorton Syndicate had attacked a human colony ship, killing 8,000 civilians. When Earth had appealed to the Galactic Coalition for justice, they had been told that such matters were outside coalition jurisdiction. So humanity had taken matters into their own hands, hunting down the pirates and destroying their bases. That action had saved countless lives across multiple species, but it also terrified the established powers. They had realized that humans would not simply accept victimhood. They would fight back. The accusations continued for another hour. The Orvithai complained about human trade practices. The Cytherian Republic objected to human colonization patterns. The Milvian Empire protested human cultural influences spreading through galactic media. Each grievance was delivered with practiced outrage, each speaker convinced of their own righteousness. Finally, Chancellor Vexer raised one crystalline appendage for silence. The grievances have been heard. We now proceed to deliberation and vote. The question before this assembly is simple. Should humanity retain membership in the galactic community, or should Earth and all human territories be expelled from our collective civilization? The chamber fell silent. 473 civilizations prepared to pass judgment on a species barely a century into space travel. All those in favor of expulsion, signal now. Vexer commanded. The voting display illuminated along the chamber's perimeter. Green lights for expulsion, red lights for retention. The green lights appeared first, a scattering across the Crillian section, then more from the Thexians. The Orvithai section lit up almost entirely green. Within 30 seconds, the pattern was clear. Green dominated the display, like a field of emeralds. Sarah watched without expression. She had expected this outcome, had prepared for it, but seeing it manifest still carried a strange weight. 473 civilizations. Only 41 red lights remained visible. Humanity had 41 friends in a galaxy of thousands. The vote is recorded. Vexer announced, by overwhelming majority, this assembly expels Earth and all human territories from the galactic community. Humanity is hereby banned from coalition space, prohibited from using established trade routes, and forbidden from participating in galactic commerce, science, or culture. Human vessels will have 90 days to evacuate all stations, colonies, and installations outside the Sol system. After this period, any human presence in coalition space will be considered an act of invasion. The chamber erupted in a mixture of relief and celebration. Some delegates believed they had removed a threat. Others thought they had punished dangerous upstarts. A few simply felt satisfied that order had been restored. The small group who had voted against expulsion sat in somber silence. Chancellor Vexer looked down at Sarah from his elevated position. Admiral Chun, you may address this assembly with humanity's response. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. The moment when humanity would plead for reconsideration, promise reform, offer concessions, beg for another chance. Every species expelled from the community throughout history had followed this pattern. Pride gave way to desperate negotiation. Sarah Chun stepped forward into the center of the chamber. She looked up at Vexer, then slowly turned in a complete circle, making eye contact with as many delegates as possible. When she spoke, her voice was calm and clear. Thank you, Chancellor Vexer, for allowing me to respond. I will be brief. She paused, letting the silence stretch. Earth accepts this decision without protest or appeal. We acknowledge the will of this assembly and will comply with all evacuation requirements. In fact, we will complete our withdrawal in 30 days rather than 90. Confusion rippled through the chamber. This was not the response they had expected. Sarah continued, effective immediately, all human personnel will be recalled from every coalition facility. Our scientists will withdraw from joint research projects. Our engineers will depart from infrastructure maintenance positions. Our medical staff will return from hospital assignments. Our teachers will leave educational institutions. Our traders will cease all commercial operations. Our security personnel will abandon their posts at coalition installations. She smiled then, a genuine expression of something that might have been amusement. You have voted to expel us. We respect that choice. But understand this. When we leave, we take everything that is ours with us. Our knowledge, our technology, our expertise, our friendship. We came to this galaxy hoping to build something beautiful together. You have decided you do not want us here, so we will go find somewhere that does. Lady Shexera rose from her seat, her crystalline form flickering with agitation. You cannot threaten this assembly, human. You are being expelled. You have no leverage. This is not a threat, Sarah replied softly. It is simply a statement of fact. You are free to make your choices, Lady Shexera, and we are free to make ours. You chose to expel us. We choose to leave completely. Chancellor Vexer's crystalline form pulsed with an unreadable emotion. Admiral Chun, perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. The vote was for expulsion, not for complete severance of all relations. Humanity may still maintain limited diplomatic and scientific exchange within approved parameters. Sarah shook her head. No, Chancellor. You wanted us gone. We will be gone. Completely. You will not have access to human innovation while simultaneously rejecting our presence. You cannot have it both ways. She activated her communication device, and a holographic display appeared above her head. It showed real-time data from across coalition space. As I speak, emergency protocols are being enacted. Dr. James Foster, our lead researcher at the Galactic Medical Institute, is downloading all human medical research and shutting down the quantum computing array he designed. Commander Patricia Wells is evacuating our engineering team from the Transgalactic Relay Station and implementing system lockouts. Captain Michael Torres is withdrawing our security forces from the Outer Rim peacekeeping mission. Every human in coalition space is receiving the same order. Come home. The display shifted to show dozens of ships powering up across multiple systems. Human vessels of every size and function, from massive colony transports to small research craft, all beginning departure procedures simultaneously. You are abandoning your responsibilities, the Xian delegate accused. You committed to maintaining critical infrastructure. You cannot simply walk away. We can and we are, Sarah replied. Our commitments were made to a community that wanted us as members. That community just voted to expel us. Therefore, our commitments are void. The chamber descended into chaos. Delegates shouted in dozens of languages. Translation devices struggling to keep pace. Some demanded Sarah be arrested. Others called for immediate renegotiation. A few sat in stunned silence, beginning to understand the implications of what was happening. Chancellor Vexer raised his voice above the disorder. Admiral Chun, be reasonable. The galaxy depends on human contributions in hundreds of critical areas. You cannot expect us to simply accept your total withdrawal. Sarah turned to face him directly. Her expression was no longer pleasant. Chancellor, you just voted to expel my entire species from galactic civilization. You declared us unwelcome, threatening, dangerous. You gave us 90 days to evacuate everything we have built over 50 years. And now you tell me we cannot leave because you depend on us. She laughed, a sound without humor. You cannot have it both ways. Either we are dangerous and must go, or we are valuable and should stay. You chose the former. Now live with that choice. She deactivated her communication device and looked around the chamber one final time. Humanity came to the stars with hope and wonder. We sought friendship, partnership, shared destiny. We offered our best to this community. Our scientists, our artists, our dreamers, our builders. We worked beside you, learned from you, taught you, protected you. And you responded with fear and rejection. Her voice softened slightly. We are not angry. We are disappointed. But we will not waste time trying to convince you of our worth. Instead, we will go build our own future. Somewhere far from here. Somewhere we are wanted. She began walking toward the exit. No one moved to stop her. The entire assembly watched in silence as Admiral Sarah Chun, representative of humanity, departed their chamber for the last time. As she reached the doorway, she paused and looked back. One more thing. To the 41 civilizations who voted against our expulsion, you will always have Earth's friendship and support. When you need us, call. We will answer. For the rest of you, I have only this to say. Good luck. You are going to need it. Then she was gone, leaving behind an assembly hall full of delegates who were only beginning to understand what they had done. Aboard the human flagship Endeavor, Dr. James Foster watched Earth's ambassador return. He was 38 years old, brilliant in his field of quantum biology, and one of thousands of humans about to leave behind years of work. How did they take it? He asked as Sarah entered the bridge. Exactly as expected, she replied, settling into the command chair. Confusion first, then outrage. Soon it will be denial, eventually understanding. She activated the ship-wide communication system. All human vessels, This is Admiral Chun. Execute Operation Exodus. We're going home, and then we're going somewhere better. Across coalition space, humanity began its departure, and the galaxy would never be the same. The consequences. 3 months had passed since humanity's departure, and the galaxy was dying. Chancellor Vexer stood in his private chambers on the assembly station, staring at reports that should have been impossible. Critical systems failing across 12 sectors. Trade routes collapsing. Medical emergencies without solutions. Economic projections showing catastrophic decline. The holographic displays surrounding him painted a picture of civilization unraveling at the seams. He had not slept properly in weeks. His crystalline form, usually vibrant with purple and gold light, had dimmed to a dull gray. Stress affected Krillians differently than it did humans, but the result was the same. Exhaustion, fear, and a terrible weight of consequences he had not foreseen. "Chancellor, we have another emergency transmission," his aide announced, entering the chamber without the usual formalities. The crisis had made everyone forget about protocol. "From whom?" Vexer asked, though he already knew the answer. Every transmission lately was an emergency. The Outer Rim Medical Consortium. They are reporting a complete breakdown of their pandemic response system. The Veltharian plague has spread to 14 worlds. Without human expertise in quantum biology, they cannot synthesize the treatment protocols. Vexer closed his eyes. The Veltharian plague was a nightmare, a disease that mutated faster than traditional medicine could adapt. Dr. James Foster, the human who had worked at the Galactic Medical Institute, had developed a quantum-based approach that could predict mutations and create adaptive treatments. His system had saved billions of lives over the past decade. When the humans left, they had taken that system with them. Every algorithm, every research file, every piece of knowledge that Foster had contributed. The consortium had tried to replicate his work, but quantum biology was a field that humans had pioneered. No other species had the same intuitive grasp of the subject. "How many dead?" Vexer asked quietly. "Current estimates are at 40 million and rising. The plague is accelerating. 40 million lives." The number was incomprehensible, yet it was only one of dozens of crises spreading across coalition space. "Added to the list," Vexer said. The list had grown very long. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out in 1,000 different locations. Systems that had functioned perfectly for decades suddenly revealed their dependence on human involvement. On the transgalactic relay station, communications began experiencing cascade failures. The station was a hub of faster-than-light communication for 300 star systems, a marvel of engineering that connected the galaxy. But its quantum relay arrays had been designed and maintained by Commander Patricia Wells and her human engineering team. When the humans left, they had implemented system lockouts that prevented anyone else from accessing the core programming. Coalition engineers tried for weeks to bypass the security, only to discover that the lockouts were tied to quantum encryption that would take centuries to crack. Without the relay station operating at full capacity, communications between distant sectors slowed from instantaneous to hours or even days. Trade agreements could not be negotiated in real time. Military coordination became impossible across long distances. Diplomatic incidents escalated because messages arrived too late to prevent misunderstandings. The Xian Confederation lost contact with 17 colony worlds in the Outer Rim. Search and rescue operations were delayed by communication failures. When ships finally arrived, they found colonies that had suffered critical emergencies without being able to call for help. Thousands died waiting for assistance that came too late. The economic impact was even more devastating. Human traders had dominated interstellar commerce not through force or unfair advantage, but through sheer efficiency and innovation. They had developed new shipping routes, optimized cargo logistics, and created market prediction algorithms that stabilized prices across hundreds of worlds. When humanity withdrew, they took those innovations with them. Trade routes that had been profitable for decades suddenly became money-losing ventures. Shipping companies went bankrupt. Supply chains collapsed. Worlds that had specialized their economies around galactic trade found themselves unable to export their goods or import necessities. The Orvithai Collective, which had voted enthusiastically for human expulsion, watched their economy shrink by 30% in the first 2 months. Their factories produced goods that could not reach markets. Their people needed imports that never arrived. Unemployment skyrocketed. Social unrest followed. Lady Shexera, the Krillian delegate who had presented the first grievance against humanity, found herself facing a personal crisis. Her homeworld of Crystallos had depended on human agricultural technology to feed its population. The crystalline Krillians could not grow food themselves. They absorbed nutrients from specially treated mineral solutions. The human company Terraform Solutions had developed an efficient process for creating those solutions at scale. When the humans left, they canceled all contracts and removed their processing facilities. Crystallos had enough stored nutrients for 6 months, maybe 8 with strict rationing. After that, millions would begin to starve. Shexer had sent 12 requests to Earth, each one more desperate than the last. All had gone unanswered. Humanity was gone, and they had no interest in helping those who had expelled them. In the Galactic Assembly Hall, Chancellor Vexer called an emergency session. The same delegates who had voted to expel humanity now gathered to discuss the catastrophic results of that decision. "We must establish contact with Earth," Vexer stated flatly. The usual political maneuvering was gone, replaced by desperate urgency. Every day that passes, more of our people die, more of our systems fail, more of our civilization crumbles. We need human assistance. "They will not answer," a Dacian delegate said. His electromagnetic voice carried defeat. "We have sent hundreds of transmissions, all ignored." "Then we send ships to the Sol system," Lady Shexera suggested. Her crystalline form had lost its brilliant emerald color, fading to pale green. "We go to Earth directly and negotiate." "Negotiate what?" challenged a Milvian representative. "We expelled them. We told them they were unwelcome. What possible offer could we make that they would accept?" "Full membership reinstatement," Vexer proposed. "With apologies and reparations for the insult we delivered. We admit our mistake and beg them to return." The chamber fell silent. The idea of the mighty galactic coalition begging for anything was humiliating, but what choice did they have? Pride was a luxury they could no longer afford. "I volunteer to lead the diplomatic mission," Vexer continued. "I will go to Earth myself and negotiate directly with their leadership. Perhaps they will listen to the Chancellor of the Coalition." A vote was called. For once, the Assembly reached unanimous agreement quickly. Vexer would travel to Earth with full authority to offer whatever terms necessary to bring humanity back into the galactic fold. 2 weeks later, Chancellor Vexer's diplomatic vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. He had brought a fleet of 12 ships, all displaying peaceful intentions with weapons powered down and shields deactivated. He transmitted friendship codes on every frequency, announcing his desire to negotiate. What he found shocked him into silence. The Sol system had been transformed. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had been completely reorganized, converted into a massive shipyard complex that stretched millions of miles. Hundreds of vessels in various stages of construction floated in automated assembly facilities. Not warships, but colony transports, exploration vessels, science stations, and cargo haulers. Earth's orbit contained 6 enormous space elevators reaching down to the surface, each one moving materials and personnel between ground and space at incredible rates. The moon had been industrialized, its surface covered in mining operations and manufacturing centers. Mars glowed with artificial lights. Entire cities visible from space, where only research stations had existed 3 months ago. The terraforming that had been slowly proceeding for decades had somehow accelerated dramatically, and everywhere defensive platforms. Thousands of them. Orbital weapon systems, missile batteries, energy shields, sensor networks. The Sol system had become a fortress that could probably repel the entire coalition fleet if it came to war. "This is impossible," Vexer's aide whispered. "This level of construction would take decades." They had been gone for 3 months. They were preparing, Vexer realized. Long before the vote, they knew we would expel them, so they prepared for independence. A communication channel opened, and Admiral Sarah Chen's face appeared on the display. She looked different than she had 3 months ago. More confident, perhaps? Or Maybe just relieved to be free of the burden of trying to fit into a society that did not want her kind. "Chancellor Vexer," she greeted him politely. "This is unexpected. The Galactic Coalition expelled humanity from its territory. The Sol system is no longer within your jurisdiction. You are trespassing." "Admiral Chun, I come seeking negotiation," Vexer said, keeping his voice humble. "The galaxy has suffered greatly since your departure. We wish to discuss the terms of humanity's return to the Coalition." Sarah's expression did not change. "We have no interest in returning." "Please," Vexer said, and the desperation in his voice was genuine. "Millions are dying. Systems are collapsing. We made a mistake, Admiral. We admit it fully. We were wrong to expel you. We ask forgiveness and offer full membership restoration with complete voting rights, permanent seats on all major councils, and financial reparations for any damages caused by our decision." "Chancellor, you are not listening," Sarah replied calmly. "We do not want to return. We do not want your apologies or your reparations. We do not want membership in your coalition. We want nothing from you at all." Vexer felt something crack inside him. "You will let billions die out of spite." "Not spite. Choice." Sarah leaned forward slightly. "You made your choice 3 months ago. You decided humanity was dangerous, unwelcome, a threat to your civilized society. You voted overwhelmingly to expel us. Only 41 civilizations stood with us. 41 out of 473. "We were wrong," Vexer insisted. "Yes, you were. But that is not our problem anymore." Sarah gestured to something off-screen, and the display split to show images of human colonies across the Sol system. Thriving cities, advanced industries, happy people. "We have spent 3 months building our own future. No more trying to fit into your society. No more walking on eggshells to avoid offending species who feared us. No more contributing to a civilization that did not value our contributions. We are free, Chancellor, and we are thriving. What about the species who voted against expulsion?" Vexer asked desperately. "The 41 who stood with you? Will you abandon them as well?" Sarah's expression softened slightly. "No, we honor our friends. Those 41 civilizations have already been contacted. They are welcome to join us if they wish, to form a new alliance based on mutual respect rather than fear. Several have accepted. More are considering." Vexer felt the situation slipping away completely. "And the rest of us? You will simply watch us collapse." "You will not collapse," Sarah said. "You will adapt. You will learn to maintain your own systems, develop your own solutions, stand on your own feet. It will be difficult. Yes, painful, certainly. But you will survive. You are advanced civilizations with thousands of years of history. You simply became dependent on human innovation and forgot how to innovate yourselves." She stood up, preparing to end the communication. "We did not leave out of cruelty, Chancellor. We left because we were not wanted. You cannot expel someone and then demand a return when you realize you need them. Relationships do not work that way. Civilizations do not work that way. Then there is nothing I can say to change your mind?" Vexer asked. Sarah paused, considering. "Tell me, Chancellor, if humanity had voted to expel the Krillians from some organization we controlled, and then 3 months later we came begging you to return, because we needed you, what would you say?" Vexer could not answer. They both knew the truth. "Goodbye, Chancellor Vexer," Sarah said. "We wish the Galactic Coalition well. We hold no grudges and seek no revenge. We simply seek our own path now. Please leave the Sol system within 6 hours, or our automated defenses will consider you hostile." The communication ended. Vexer's fleet departed within 4 hours, returning to Coalition space with the news that humanity would not save them. The galaxy would have to save itself. Over the following months, the Coalition slowly stabilized. The Veltharian plague was eventually contained through traditional medical methods, though the death toll reached 80 million. The transgalactic relay station was painstakingly rebuilt by non-human engineers who learned through trial and error. Trade routes were reorganized, less efficient than human designs but functional. The galaxy survived, but it was diminished. The golden age of rapid advancement and shared prosperity had ended. Now came a period of struggle and slow recovery. Meanwhile, humanity thrived. The 41 civilizations who had voted against expulsion joined Earth in forming the Alliance of Free Worlds, a new interstellar organization based on voluntary association and mutual benefit. Together, they explored new regions of space, developed new technologies, and built a civilization that welcomed rather than feared innovation. 5 years after the expulsion, Admiral Sarachin stood in the bridge of a colony ship named Pioneer. They were preparing to jump to another galaxy entirely, to establish humanity's first extragalactic settlement. Around her, representatives from 20 different species worked side by side, all members of the Alliance. Final systems check complete. Her first officer reported, "We are ready for jump." Sarah looked at the view screen, showing the Milky Way galaxy in the distance. Somewhere in that spiral of stars, the Galactic Coalition continued its existence, smaller and diminished but enduring. She felt no anger toward them anymore, only a distant sadness for what might have been. "Execute jump," she ordered. The Pioneer leaped forward into the unknown, carried with it the hopes and dreams of civilizations who had learned a simple truth. Fear divides, but respect unites. The galaxy that expelled humanity had chosen fear. The Alliance chose something better. Behind them, the Milky Way grew smaller and smaller until it was just another distant light in an infinite cosmos. Humanity had been expelled from one galaxy, so they simply found another, and they never looked back.